I came through Belize. It was when the terrible hurricane hit in the Gulf Coast and Guatemala, and I was trying to go through Guatemala and head south, and everybody was gathering at the borders and traveling by convoy across. And I thought, okay, if things have gotten that hard, I'll turn around and go the other way.
But one thing you did develop in that time was an absolute love for motorcycles.
Yeah.
And I know that you drive your manager crazy because you like to ride your motorcycle between every
Well,
gig.
after all these years, it's one part of the tour that really keeps me interested and challenged. So when I get the itinerary, I'm not so much looking at the shows as the days off. Oh, I can go there and there. Because this country, the back roads and small towns of this country are endless source of fascination. Just every tour I discovered this tour for some reason Arkansas, because our itinerary goes a different way every time, of course, following the dartboard of itineraries. But I happened to cross Arkansas 2 or 3 times, and it's my new discovery this tour, how beautiful the motorcycling roads are in Arkansas. Last tour it was Pennsylvania, the tour before that Virginia.
What is it about the motorcycle that draws you to it to the point where you won't fly with these guys? I mean, as handsome and lovely as they are, you don't want to travel
Glad you
with
put
them.
that in there.
you take your motorcycle.
Yeah, well, it's just like I said, for me, challenge and enjoyment, and a way to make touring much more enjoyable.
So you guys are pushing 60 now. 57 years old.
I would
just
say
turned.
late 40s. It's 40-17
Late middle age.
last month.
Well, 50s, the
I
late
hate-
50s is the new late 40s.
Yeah.
Right?
I hate to break it to you, from a guy who's in his early 50s, you guys are beginning to get close to that magic number. Just turned 57, just turned 58. Now is a time when you look back on life, and as Solomon did in the book of Ecclesiastes, if you will, if you want a religious reference, and you say, has my life had meaning? And when you look back on it, has your life had meaning?
Yes.
And what does that?
We've been busy anyway.
Yeah.
It's hard to answer that question,
Yeah.
for a lot of reasons. But certainly, when you come out here and you play hard and you do a good show and you look at all the people in the audience and you see them smiling and you see young kids singing lyrics and people in the meet and greet that tell you that something you did gave their life comfort or some meaning.
Well, a quote from Bob Dylan, I think,
Yeah.
is really good on this. He said, the only thing you can do for anyone as a stranger is inspire them. What else can you do but inspire them? And we look out every night when we're playing and see people who are inspired by what we do, and we hear from them and letters from them. And as our audience has grown older, they become active in their fields, whether they're writers or artists or athletes. And we hear back of our part in inspiring them to elevate their own lives in that way. So I think Bob Dylan nailed it. What else can you do as an artist but inspire someone? Well, that's about the highest goal.
Alex, what is it that gives your life meaning?
Sinking a 40-foot putt. There are so many things that
I was going to
give.
feed you that.
Yeah, There's so many things. I mean, what we do.
But that's a transient pleasure,
Yeah.
because you
It
might not
is.
sink. You
Doesn't
might not
last long
sink
at
the
all.
next 6-footer.
Life is made of
Exactly.
transient pleasures.
No, I'm just wondering what it is that gives you satisfaction. Is it coming out here and playing the music? Is it recording the music? Is it family? Is it friends?
Well,
What is
it's all those things. Playing a great show gives me immense satisfaction. Every night I look forward to playing the best that I can, and that we all play the best that we can and come off stage that way. I look forward to spending every second I can with my grandkids, with being with the rest of my family, with playing golf, with all those things.
A measure of life is all those things, how successful you are at home as family people, as we have all been as well. And cooking a good meal for your family is satisfying as playing a good show for an audience. They're
Yeah.
on different levels, but they all contribute to your sense of accomplishment and meaningfulness.
But you're all involved in philanthropy as well. What's important to you as far as your philanthropic pursuits?
Well, every day you get approached by someone else to help out in some way or another. So there's a million small, causes that we help on a daily basis just because people come to you and you say, will you sign this? Will you help in this way or another? I work with an organization in Canada that has now opened up a branch in the United States called Grapes for Humanity. And we began by raising money for landmine victims around the world. And that's been very gratifying for me, and it's expanded into just helping people in need, period. So for someone of any kind of celebrity, if you want to help, there are myriad ways to help. You just have to want to do it.
And find the personal ways too. I got a letter from a cause in South Africa that contribute where you build houses. For $1,000 you can build a house for somebody who lives in one of the projects in South Africa. And this big picture of this family in their new little wooden house holding up, "Thank you, Neil." You know, and you see this family, the first house they've ever had, and it was so.
And
it took
how are
so
you
little
struck
to
by
make that? Well, that's gratification. That's meaning. If that isn't meaning in life, to have improved someone else's from living in a cardboard box to building them a house, you know, and a picture of them smiling with a sign made in crayon, "Thank you, Neil." I mean, that's a beautiful small example of having made a change that can only make you feel good.
And Alec, what's an important way for you to give back? I mean, you have achieved so much success. Life has given you so many things. How do you give back?
Well, for me, I got involved with Casey House in Toronto, which is an AIDS hospice. Someone very close to me died recently, and he was very well taken care of there. And it really struck me how hard they work and how limited their resources are and how much help they need to do the work that they do. So I did not only financial assistance, but I played at an event that they had at Casey House, and I stay in touch and I continue at Christmas time. My wife and I go down. We bake stuff for all the residents there. So there's lots of ways to do it.
That's great. I want to pull a little blast from the past if I could. This was 1981. Moving Pictures had just come out, and Getty, you and I sat down in Toronto and talked about it. Here's the video.
On Vital Signs, we see Rush again using a little bit of reggae, something that started with the spirit of radio. How big an influence is that becoming in your music?
Well, yeah, I think it's a real positive kind of music, you know, reggae music. Especially the way it's been sort of melded into rock music, the way it is, like the Police and various groups.
You got bangs.
Who is that kid?
Smoking a smoke back then.
Oh my!
Going underneath the desk.
I saw that on camera.
That's me.
You and I look exactly the same. How's that possible?
It's your connection.
Time trickers.
Gives you the feeling that it's...
Look at those glasses eating my entire face.
One of the most
In many
amazing
ways.
One of the most amazing things about that is you had a cigarette going
I know.
underneath the
Yeah.
desk at the time.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Shocking.
Those days are long gone for me.
Yeah.
I can't remember when I quit, but it was, I think in 1982 is when I quit smoking.
You guys make a point of staying healthy?
I do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, we work hard at it.
Yeah, very hard.
It's like the older you get, the harder it is to keep doing what you did 10 years earlier. So you have to work twice as hard to stay in the shape
Absolutely.
that you
Yeah.
can still do it.
If you don't prepare for a tour, not just your fingers, but your body,
Yeah.
you'll never survive this ground. I mean, we play almost 3 hours a night, and it's hard. And at the end of it, you're tired.
Well, you joke that Neil rehearses to rehearse, right?
Oh yeah,
You're meticulous about
I started
the
2
whole-
months before, and even in the off season, as it were, cross country skiing, long distance swimming, way through. And it's built up since my 20s. Really, I started building that fitness stamina that came out of drumming, because I compared 3 hours of drumming with this band is like running a marathon and solving equations at the same time. So it needs that level of preparation, or I won't be able to do it simply.
Yeah, that's part of the attraction in a way,
Yeah.
strangely, is that how difficult it is to do the show. You've got to psych yourself forward, you got to get your game face on, and you've got to, it's very athletic. You know, you've got to, like we often joke, we should be paid by the note.
We'd be
A lot of
hundred
notes.
I thought you were. When you look back at that old interview, do you feel the same about the things that you were saying back then, the direction that you were going in?
When I see an old interview with myself, I'm struck by my naivete sometimes, but also how in some ways I still agree with myself back then. You do change. Obviously, life changes you. Your opinion and your outlook on your values and things that are important to you do change. But there's talking about the music and what made us write that music has not really changed that much.
So musically, at least, you had your head screwed on pretty well back then?
Well, I think so. Not everyone would agree with that, but it doesn't feel that dissimilar to the way we look at writing music now.
It's interesting that you can maintain that consistency over that period of time.
Well, yeah, life should be growth, really change.